All right, everyone. Welcome to another week's weekly analysis where we'll be going over crypto, gold, and GJ. We'll go over some of the analysis to look forward to in the upcoming week and follow through with some of the news that will happen to make sure that we're aligned in our trading. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Well, first we have gold. I want to go ahead and identify. Well, actually, let's start out with removing all of the drawings. So in gold last week, I mentioned as this candle was opening for weekly, I mentioned that we should be able to fill this wick on the left hand side, and if you watched the last week analysis, you know that the targets were around 3550 to 3560. That's the range that kind of, once it has broken above and filled this previous wick, then we should have continued to push, and that's exactly what happened based on the previous structure of gold. What's to come for gold in the upcoming weeks? Let's go ahead and take a look at on daily basis, because right now we're at all-times high for gold, and based on the current economic condition, the economic news in the last week, NFP was released very weak for USD, driving gold to newer highs. So anticipating anything right now for gold would be based on fundamentals, which we'll take a look here just shortly. But as far as technical analysis, we are continuing to push up. So as long as we are not breaking below the previous low, we should continue to push forward, which also the previous low here is 500 pips, 400, yeah, about 500 pips. So that is a steep run. So if we just take a look at here on a lower time frame, we will be most likely consolidating quite a bit this week, and I wouldn't necessarily look for very big moves, because gold has moved quite a bit in the last couple of days. So just in the next days, I think we will consolidate, and we might end up actually having a higher high on gold. So if we, as a trader, what you would be looking forward to is a break either below or above. So let's say if we have a break above this zone 3600, then we'll be continuing to push high. Where we're gonna go, that depends on the fundamentals mostly, just because it's a new zone for gold. We don't know, we don't have any data on the left hand side, but if we are able to break below these areas, first we should be able to continue to push down and fill this wick on the left hand side, which is 3573, and then we have clean traffic on the left hand side. If we're breaking below these zones at 3570, then we should continue to push down into 3550s. All right, that's for gold, and let's go ahead and move on to GJ. GJ opened with a gap. Weekly, perfect. So I mentioned last week that as long as we're not breaking below, that's why there's support here mentioned, from last week. As long as we're not breaking below this previous low, we should continue to fill first this wick and then continue to go up to the higher highs, and that's exactly what happened. That's why the weekly analysis videos are very important. I'm gonna start to do a recap in the middle of the week where we are. I think that will be more beneficial and more engaging as well. But I mentioned this move, and this is about 200 pip move. So I know GJ doesn't move a lot, but 200 pip move on GJ that was anticipated just within last week is a crazy thing to do. Let's take a look here on crypto. Doge is having a time. Doge is having a time of its life in the last couple of days, because Doge is outperforming all of your main dominant cryptos, which is your Bitcoin and your Ethereum. In just the last 24 hours, it has gone up over 6%. And I was looking at Doge because I had an entry at about 21.4. That's where I called it out, in our group chat as well, 21.4, and I held it, and I'm continuing to hold because the next target I'm looking at is that as it has created a lower wick on the daily time frame, we should continue to push up to at least 24.49 as we're clearing the 23.405 areas. On a weekly, we have created a support here. So as we have created a support, that should act as a lower wick for our monthly candle. My trade that I took at 21,400 was based on the monthly candle. My stop loss was below the monthly candle's low. So this week's close is acting as a support, and I think we should continue to push up to 24,480 in this week, and then if we break above those areas, we should continue to push up to 25 cents. That's on Doge. Just a FYI, I will be going over Sol as well, just because it was requested. So I'm gonna go over Sol here shortly. On Ethereum, all right. So on Ethereum, it's a slow move. We're really just consolidating on daily time frame. If you look here, and you try to take a buy or a sell, there is no direction right now. But this being a good thing is that it has been consolidated in the last week, so we are anticipating a move in the upcoming days. So as long as we are able to break above or below this area, we should be able to anticipate a move. I think personally, the way we have closed on Ethereum, it is not the right time to buy because we have closed breaking below the previous low. I would want this candle, this week's candle, to create some sort of support, and then next week's candle to continue and fill these ranges at all-time highs of Ethereum and possibly break above the previous high. As of right now, it is not a certain buy, but some of the folks that are day trading Ethereum and crypto, for them, I would say, as we have created this support and we're breaking above this previous high at 43.37, we should continue to push up in this range to at least 44.87. That is for the day traders, and for someone that is holding and waiting for a confirmation to hold it for maybe over a month or two, I would say wait for this candle to create a support like Doge did, and then continue to push up. That will be something that I'm looking forward to do. As far as Bitcoin is showing let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin, we have a support formed. Last week I mentioned that we should be last week was also the beginning of the month, and I mentioned that we should be able to, if we break below these areas, then we should be able to continue to push down to the 100,000 range. But we have created support, and we trade as traders based on what we see, not what we want in market to happen, right? So with that being said, what I would be looking forward to have on Bitcoin is for the price to not break below 107 and continue to push up in the range and test these highs one more time. That is something that I will be looking forward in the upcoming weeks for Bitcoin. So again, this week's candle should not break below the 106 range, and then it should continue to push up in testing its highs. So the first target would be around 113,000, and then the next target I would say around 117, because what happens is that the reason why I'm saying these targets is that this wick here was once a big green candle, but it came all the way down. So if we're trying to, if we form support and we're trying to go up again, this would be something of a wick fill that the price should continue to reach. This would be sort of like a zone. Now, if we break this zone, on the left hand side, we have clean candles. There is price moves based on zones. That is how traders, they can have a confluence while they're taking a trade, is because there's traffic on the left hand side there's structure on the left hand side, and based on that structure they can say, oh, you know what, on the left hand side we can see that there was no hesitation for price to either come up or come down. It was clean candles, so I'm anticipating the price to do the same moving forward. Like another example is, a quick example here is that the price was a straight down, right? It just came down straight. It consolidated a bit. This candle here, it broke above this previous area, and the next candle went up completely fine. There was no like zigzag, nothing. It's just complete good, traffic flow all the way up to where the previous zone was, and that's where we rejected. Right. Anyways, I don't want to make this video too long, but that's on Bitcoin. I think I don't have Sol, so I'm gonna just add that here. Sol USD. Yeah, perfect. I think we are in a uptrend on Sol as of right now. I know we have wicks on the left hand side for the past couple of weeks, but as we're closing above, if the price, let's not say if, as the price is going and crossing above these areas, we should continue to push up, first filling the wick at 217, and if we are able to break and close in the next week above 209, then we should continue to push up to at least 244 in the next upcoming weeks. That's on Sol. All right. I think, yeah, this week's video is only 11 minutes and some seconds, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'll try to do a recap for where we are around Wednesday to make sure that we're able to predict where we're going. And one more thing, actually, I wanted to take a look is weekly fundamental events that are happening. So next week, again, I'm on forexfactory.com. It is available for all the traders to utilize. We can apply the settings here for next week. For Monday, we don't have any news. Also, just another side note, USD impacts crypto. So just be mindful of those things, that when you're trading, look at fundamentals, look to see if there's any major news that is coming up. Like Friday, we had NFP's non-farm payroll. It's a a major event in the market which impacted on a lot of the cryptos at the time on Friday. So on Wednesdays, mainly when we have core PPI. Core PPI doesn't really make that much impact. I've traded it quite a few times now. Thursday, CPI, unemployment claims. Yeah, Thursday 7:30 a.m. is gonna be a lot of volume as the news is gonna be coming in. So just watch out for those. And yeah, it's pretty clean week. And we have inflation expectations on Friday. On Friday also around 9 a.m. Look out for that. So next week on Thursday and Friday, we should be able to see more volume based on news. Like, so if you see all of a sudden just price going boom, bang, just slingshot, that is because it's news. On the first half of the week, we're pretty clean. So with that, I will see you guys on Wednesday with another recap of this current week. And until then, I will see you.